it's great to reconvene. I've already played music off of the new album, so I'm looking forward to getting into Mr. Hines, how this project came about. So thank you for taking a minute out.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Well,
Me too.
I met Maurice in August of 1990.
Uh-huh.
I was a pickup drummer at the 75th anniversary of the Schubert Theater in New
Yeah.
Haven, Connecticut, kind of a pre-Broadway hub for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, he came in with his music director then, Stanley Kay, and the charts were swinging like crazy, and it was the only thing that was swinging on the show. And afterwards, I made a point to talk to Stanley because I knew of him from Buddy Rich history. He was Buddy's manager.
Yeah.
So after that, they liked the way I played, and I just started playing with Maurice. And right
Wow.
in right after August of I kind of think of the date. I always need to memorize when it was. But anyway, so it was well over 30 years, and I played endless gigs with him, toured with him. The first trio was Frank Owens was the music director, and the great Bob Cranshaw was on bass, me on drums. Lasted for ages. We did some projects with DIVA, the large group DIVA in between there. And then Maurice just one day started talking about, I want to do a theatrical production about my life, because him and Gregory both, huge part of their career was theater and Broadway, and their, Tony nominations for Hubie and all that. And so I started listening to him, and he started telling me about the music he loved and who could we get to arrange it, and et cetera, et cetera. So flash forward in 2013, the show came together, and we did a workshop at the Majestic Theater in Boston with actually one of the big bands from Berkeley was playing, and I was music directing. And we did it without any of the sets or anything, and ran through for a week, and it was wildly successful. Within that time, we had a great Broadway director named Jeff Calhoun, who won a Tony for Newsies and was in the business. And after that period, started working with great set designers and videographers who were creating the pictures to support the story. And the set was super cool, like what you probably would have seen in an old movie musical, with a multi-tiered bandstand, really cool, with a big elevator that shot up right through the middle of the bandstand, where Maurice would pop in and out occasionally.
Yeah.
And it was very elegant. The show was a lot of it narrated by Maurice, and all these pictures, and there was multiple screens and giant pieces hanging behind the band, and like all parts of his life, and his life with his father, Hines and dad, and his mom, and them as little boys. They started tapping when Maurice was 5 and Gregory was 3, and just like all the way through to culminating in the point where Maurice was in his life then. So the first official opening of that show was at Arena Stage in Washington, D.C. in November of 2013. Then we just carried on from there. We did the show at the Cleveland Playhouse, at the Alliance Theater in Atlanta, at the Annenberg Center in Beverly Hills. And
Yeah.
so that show and those productions and those touring was extraordinarily great. So interestingly, I said to Maurice, I want to take the band, I want to take me, the rhythm section, and pick up some players in each town. And does it have to be, women or diva? Because I thought that's going to be challenging to me. I already knew it, to find the players. And Maurice said, no, baby, it's got to be my divas. I want my divas. So so that was, it actually ended up being, I was glad he said that, because it was pivotal. We went to Atlanta. I called the theater and some contractors, and I said, hey, I need 6 horns. I need 2 trumpets, lead trumpet, jazz trumpet, bone, and 3 saxes, alto, tenor, bari. These are the words they said. Now listen, this was in like 2013 or 14. Oh, women don't play those instruments.
Wow.
And I'm not kidding you. So in the history of, we don't need to delve into this subject too deeply, but I will tell you that I sat and I felt my face turn red. I was so angry that I actually turned red. I felt, you ever get that mad or bugged and you can feel your ears burning?
Yeah.
I was so mad at that statement. I was like, ugh. Now it's even, people still think that a major theater in a major metropolitan city that's responsible for hiring dozens, if not hundreds of musicians a year, thinks women don't play trumpet, trombone, and saxophone in jazz. Anyway, of course they do. So sure. I was even more grateful to Maurice. I'm like, you know what? yes, there's women playing their butts off all over this country, and I'm going to find all of them everywhere we go. And I did, and it was awesome. and introduced all these women who I know to this day are still working in Atlanta because of that show, and still working in Cleveland because the people met women who were there who never got any attention or recognition.
Wow. That just launched all kinds of thoughts. I was just thinking about watching that documentary on Sally Ride about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and just all the scrutiny she went through, and it's like I just interviewed the Empress, which is an all-female group, which is amazing. Yeah.
And Lauren, I know them.
Yeah, and it's like I don't even want to talk about it. And then I think about from Atlanta, the Indigo Girls. I saw a documentary on them from there. It's like there's so many legions of musicians that just the gender line is getting fatigued. But I guess we've entered this political era where things have just rolled back to antiquity, which is unfortunate, And it's like that's the thing right now. Like I don't from this end of the microphone want to talk and focus on gender, because it's about talent and it's about skill. And if you're listening to the music, you don't know who's playing the music. You just know that there's this prowess that's coming through your ears, that's coming into your brain. And we don't need to focus on those things. But unfortunately, in this world that's reverted back so much, it's just something that's going to continue to be a thing.
Now I often don't relish talking about the women in jazz, because women that play jazz never think about their gender. I can tell you that. It's like no man playing jazz is ever on the stage thinking about his penis. I'm just telling you, it's kind of ridiculous.
Yes.
Liesl Whitaker, lead trumpet player in DIVA, founding member of the band, one of the known worldwide as one of the greatest lead players, definitely in the United States. Her reputation is stellar. She was in the Jazz Ambassadors, first the Army Blues, then the Jazz Ambassadors of the Army Band. First woman in military history, first one to have a principal chair. She took her job seriously. She volunteered. She went to Afghanistan. She went to Iraq. She was a great soldier and great military and a leader, and shattered every glass ceiling you could think of.
Yeah.
She retired after 22 years, and the Trump administration erased her from history.
Wow.
Her page is gone. I'm not speaking exactly for her, but I can tell you we're very close friends, and she was mortified. And after her service and her career and her dedication and what she did to elevate so many aspects of that band and the Army and their role in the music world in the United States, they erased her from military history. Isn't it sickening?
I just never thought in my life that the George Orwellian idea would come to fruition so deeply and coldly as it has in this world that we live in right now. It's just interior to anything that's human to not recognize all of these accomplishments and these human beings. I mean, it's the reason why podcasting and interviews exist. We need to celebrate each other and what we're doing and how we're doing it, like with this album here. The one thing I did want to bring up in regards to Maurice, if anybody has not heard tap done in a jazz setting in Kansas City, are you familiar with the great Lonnie McFadden?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've seen him so many times. He is one of the most magnetic, wondrous human beings, A. And B, the showmanship and the McFadden brothers and that whole legacy. I just keep thinking about Maurice when I think about, the McFaddens and what they did. It's amazing to orchestrate all of that together.
Yeah, and Maurice, too, a couple of things, but Maurice and Gregory, I guess, loosely would be in the lineage of the Nicholas brothers, who were profound tappers. Like, I didn't know this famous story is Baryshnikov, that it was like trick filming the way they were dancing. And then Maurice's proteges, the Manzari brothers, also like just unbelievably taking tap to another level for young men to be doing it. I've met them when they were 17. Now I think they're in their 30s when they've been touring with the show. Those guys are extraordinarily great jazz artists. They're amazing improvisers with great time. It's just like playing with any great improviser. But Maurice's whole history of there's no way on earth you can teach somebody to have that level of charisma and stage presence. A lot of it's natural, like Sinatra. Think of anybody that commands a stage. I don't know, Tina Turner, James Brown, Aretha, name any great performer, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Maurice had that, and I think a lot of that was natural to him, but also because he's been performing since he was a little boy. That's all he's ever done.
Yeah.
So he literally walked out on stage and he loved it. I mean, none of it was a put on. And he would walk out and audience would start applauding and he would just throw his arms open, and he meant like giving the audience a huge welcome, warm hug. Like his home was the stage, his second home, and he was elegant and sophisticated and swung so hard. And he really told the story of the lyric. He wasn't just singing words. He was a great storyteller. He could do everything in the greatest sense of, I guess I have to call it old school show business. And he was an entertainer.
Yeah.
Entertainer that could do an incredible dancer, also improviser. He was a director. He was a choreographer. You know, he did so many things and just so gifted and so incredibly nice and magical to work with. I mean, it's literally to this day, it's one of the most extraordinary gigs I've ever had in my life. And that's why I wanted to do this recording. I kept bugging people, the producers. I was like, let's do a cast album. People really want to hear this music. And we never got around to it. So when Maurice passed, our some two women that I work with a lot as our executive producers wanted to do something more for Maurice. So this project came about, a celebration of Maurice Hines.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like you said, it's a celebration. It's an ecstatic extension of memorializing who he was as a human being and the artistry. But there has to be some pressure going into it when you're going to cement something in stone like this and really kind of celebrate his life. How much pressure was there? How did it all feel with the players and getting this together?
Well, it was a lot of players that did the original show and that toured with the show. So the music, the book of the show, although clearly on the recording, we left out all the underscore and some of the other magical fun things that go in the actual show, which, by the way, we will be touring. We have a performance booked in Sioux Falls, South Dakota in February. So we did the show at Birdland in New York too before we recorded. So hopefully we'll be doing this to honor Maurice more as we move forward. But there was I didn't feel a lot of pressure because I talked to Maurice enough, and the Manzaris, his proteges, knew him since they were young teenage boys. I mean, there's a lot of family connection in this, and I heard his story told so many times on stage during the show, which is literally, it's all truthfully his life story and the things he experienced. So I didn't feel a lot of pressure. I felt honored. I felt like not obligated either. Just I really wanted to have something that this is the soundtrack. Maurice chose this music as the soundtrack to his life, and all the perfect stories that went with each of these songs told something about a special part of his life. And I said to him, sorry, on more than one occasion, Maurice, teach me, how do you do that? How can you just go out there on stage and the audience is crazy for you in 2 seconds? And he goes, baby, because I tell the truth. You can't go out there and you can't lie to them. Oh, no, you can't. If you lie to them, they're going to know. They're going to know you're not real. And he would just, and he meant it. And he, at the end of his encore in his show, after his huge tap number, was always too marvelous for words. And he always, sometimes he would dedicate it to different people, but always to the audience. Be like, this is for my mom. This is for my manager. He'd have something emotional that he wanted to sing about in the first part of the tune. Then he'd say to the audience, now I'm going to sing this for you. And he meant it. I mean, like I said, that he truly loved the stage. He loved live performance. He loved the audience. And none of it was BS. There's no smoke and mirrors. There's no tracks. There's nothing. It's just a guy in a microphone and tap shoes mesmerizing an audience for 90 minutes. And he sang every single song.
Wow.
In the full 90 minutes. I mean, that's a lot for any great singer with no tracks and 8 shows a week.
Wow.
And tapping.
Yeah.
And talking nonstop, telling all the stories except when he was dancing.
Yeah.
So the Manzaris had a big tap feature. There was a few the band had a feature in the middle of it, but most of it was him. And I just came from that. Like I mentioned, I multiple times, I don't think that's something you can really teach, that level of, I don't know, charisma and depth of understanding of what being a great performer is. And to do it and to realize it really is just you, a person standing there alone, sharing their talent or their gifts with somebody without the smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
You're good. No, you're good.
I was going to say, and Clint Holmes, who I also met several 20 years ago or so, he's extraordinary like that too. And he just turned 79 he might as well be 30. That guy's amazing. And Ann Hampton Callaway too. Great, seasoned, incredible performer.
Absolutely. So being around somebody that's larger than life like that, obviously that embodies a lot of humanity and a lot of artistry. What did you learn? How did you grow? How did your life get enhanced by being around that level of talent?
Oh, oh, it's one of those things. It's like, how do you describe, how put into words, like describe love? It's like, I don't know. Just, well, besides asking him specific questions, and when he told me tell the truth, I think about that all the time, and I tell that to everybody I'm teaching, and it's totally changed my perspective about leading. The Diva Jazz Orchestra in the show is 9 pieces. The regular band is 15 pieces, and when I'm standing in front of the 15-piece band, I was in my 50s. I turned 50 when I decided I am not going to worry about any artistic expression except what's in my true heart and soul. And that is all I'm doing now, is telling the truth as I know it, when it's my expression through my band with my bandmates, and not be panic stricken, which I was a lot, like a lot of artists are, especially when you're freelance. You're like, oh no, I'm not this thing. Should I do more contemporary stuff? Should I be avant-garde? Should I do pop music? Like, what should I do in the, oh my God, like trying to keep things afloat and keep working.
Yeah.
Not that, that's stupid, because that's not, to me, that was stupid. That's not real.
Yeah.
Who am I and what do I love? And in the following in the wake of Maurice and the Diva founder, Stanley Kay, who was Buddy Rich manager, who was also Maurice's manager, who I mentioned at the beginning of the conversation, you know, swinging straight ahead, rooted in tradition. It can be as modern as you want. I mean, Maurice did all kinds of stuff with like hip hop, and he was way into everything. He wasn't just into jazz. I mean, he understood a lot, and it could all inform your performance, but always being true to your heart and soul. And I decided to do that, and that came from Maurice, and that changed the trajectory and lessened my panic. I'm like, I can only do the thing that I'm truthful about, and do it with genuine to the best of my ability. So that, and just the way he talked to the audience, the way he talked to the band, the way he engaged the band. Not many performers, and I've worked with so many. I mean, let me take that back. The ones I've worked with have been incredible. The vocalists or the stars of the show, they rarely acknowledge the band.
Yeah.
Or they think they exist without the band, especially when it's live music. Now, I forget all the tracks and all that stuff. And it doesn't just come from his interaction with us on the stage. I mean, he gave everyone space to solo. We improvised every night. We were featured. He talked to the band. He knew we were part of, he worked with the Basie band. They worked with everybody, him and Gregory. I mean, he really appreciated musicians. So that was that too, and I always appreciate my bandmates, but I always make it a point to do the same. And that's a huge deal, and it goes so far for the musicians who are working incredibly hard to, make the music great, and to have an artist like ignore you, like you're not even there, or like you're some kind of a track when you're live, you're human. So that extraordinary, and just he was very kind. He was very, very honest. He told me once, for some Broadway show, because so many people have so much talent, when they would have the cattle calls for the chorus, they call it, for auditions. He said once, I forgot what show it was, but he said he had to walk out there and look at all the finalists. I don't know, let's pretend there was 20 of them. He goes, listen, you're all so amazing. You're all so incredibly talented. I know you're going to do great, but I need a black person, a white person, a fat person, a skinny person, a tall person, a short person. I mean, that's casting.
Yeah.
That had nothing to do with their talent. And that was something I really took to heart too, about musicians and how subjective things can be.
Yeah.
It's not quite subjective. That was like a direct order from casting. They had a look they were going for. But sometimes music has that in it too. You can read an article or a call for like, I'm not picking on Beyonce, but because she did have a great all-woman band, but it's like, we're looking for all women, you have to have a certain look. Like, that's the first thing.
Yeah.
This is how music looks. Because Maurice didn't care about that. He dressed in Armani, but he cared if you could play.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. What are you hoping the listener gets from this album, from your artistic vision and the final product? What do you want them to get from this project?
A great joy.
Yeah.
And the joy that Maurice had in presenting this music as his life story. And in the CD, there was didn't tell all of the stories associated with each tune, but at at some point I might do a blog or explain how each song is connected to his life. But just the joy of the music and how there's so many different kinds of music and songs and storytelling within the show that people can find either like I said multiple times, the pure joy of just the music and thinking about the why a human would pick these songs as the soundtrack of his life, and then reminiscing and reveling in some nostalgia perhaps because it's very Rat Pack driven.
Yeah.
So he has the tribute to the Clint Holmes sings all the Sinatra tunes sequentially because when Maurice and Gregory were little in Las Vegas playing at the Moulin Rouge Hotel, which was a black hotel, as Maurice would say, all the stars would come and see them. And like, because they played 3 sets, and just seeing Sinatra and Dean Martin and all those people and how that inspired him. And he got to meet all of them.
Yeah.
That's Vegas run. And then doing the Nat Cole stuff, Paper Moon and Smile, as because Nat King Cole was a major influence on Maurice actually told me when he was little, he said, when I was little, my father took us to see Nat King Cole. And, Maurice said, Daddy, but why are all the people clapping? He didn't do anything. And his father said, because it's Nat Cole. Just that kind of. And Smile was a poignant story when him and Gregory were swimming in Vegas they were visiting Tallulah Bankhead or Pearl Bailey. Tallulah Bankhead, I think. And she liked them, and they were swimming in I don't know if I have the names right, but the story is the same.
Yeah.
And, then it was very segregated then. And she said, jump in the pool, boys. And they got in the pool and people made them get out, like they were swimming, and Maurice said, and I noticed everybody getting out of the pool. And then finally, they got out because I think they realized something was wrong, and the hotel drained the pool.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what happened in the show. And Maurice told the story, and then the concluding line was, and they drained the pool. And then he would start singing the song Smile, though your heart is breaking, smile even though it's aching. Wow. Then he would that would experience, and I get him getting goosebumps because it was so profound in the show. But that happened to him and Gregory.
That's
a lot of performers in Vegas tell stories about selling out crowds and having to go through the kitchen or something, and not being allowed to mingle. I think like Ella Fitzgerald and some major performers definitely changed that.
Yeah.
But so that, I mean, not everybody would know that story, but that's why I think I will. It'll be mentioned in the show as we do it and tell some of the stories but that's how the show goes, and stories about his mom and father, mother and dad fighting when they were little, and, just like silly stuff in the music that accompanied all that.
Yeah.
So, and I'm telling you, like I swear on stage, and after he sings the song Love, the Nat Cole song, Love, he used to come and he would stand, so I'd be in the middle of the stage at my bass drum, and he would come like right this close to me, like as close as he could get, and he would take a huge breath, and he was waiting, and the band was doing this, but I'm actually giving myself goosebumps because I love this so much every night. And he would start the band is like screaming, like swinging, and he would get real close to me, and he'd go, and he would start a pirouette. And he did like an endless pirouette.
Wow.
Like,
yeah.
I was like, how is he not falling over?
Yeah, right.
But he did it every night. It would be like when you're revving a jet engine, and suddenly it goes whoosh.
Yeah.
And he would like do stuff like that. It was so just I don't know, just moments like that of his excellence, and how, even, I know a lot of times performers will say breaking the fourth wall. Well, Maurice is telling his life story, so there is no wall really.
Yeah.
So if things went off kilter, or somebody in the audience yelled something, or some live moment happened, he always embraced all of it as part of the show. He didn't like, oh no, and like something happened, and it was always like, that's real life. That's what happens in life. So this is what's happening on stage, and let the audience know you, let the audience in. They love it. And he was correct, I believe.
Yeah. So speaking of, if anybody wants to catch you perform this live, get a copy of the album, where's the best place for people to go to do that and find out?
Well, you can download tracks everywhere. It's streaming all over the place. And Bandcamp is a good place to go, bandcamp.com. Sure. And then there's a new kind of distributor called spinny.com. So hard copies are there. easily shipped, and also on our website and Amazon and all over the place.
Okay.
We have, I mentioned we will be touring with the show with Ann and Clint and the Manzari brothers. We have one show in 2026 so far in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So South Dakota in February. Come on,
Yes.
guys, let's go.
That's right. Absolutely.
But I'm sure we'll be doing, I'm intending to do the show in Las Vegas. That would be fantastic. So we're working to bring the show to people with, with film projections and other things too.
Yeah,
Understand this part of show business that I think is, we don't want it to be lost. And I think it's really important to, just like I said multiple times, it's a person, it's music, no smoke and mirrors, just real, genuine, heartfelt virtuosity.
Yeah. And you can feel it in the album. This has been wonderful. It's always so great to catch up with you. Thank you for opening up Pandora's box on this wonderful world. I really appreciate it. And best of luck with it. I appreciate it.
Thank you. See ya.
Thank you. See you later.